By the way, I was having a debate with someone the other day. Yeah, no, not with someone actually, with like 3 people, and it was around that statement I've had said on the podcast before, which is money is the roots of all interactions.
Interaction.
No, actually, let me rephrase it because I changed that. Money is the roots of more interactions. So like people will still interact without money, but I believe that people interact more because of money.
More because of it. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's like the Instagram thing, innit? It's like, you know, people that go on, like they go on holidays or like do things just to post on Instagram. Like they basically end up doing more stuff because of Instagram. I'm not saying that's everyone, but like, because some people actively just do stuff anyways and they'll just post it. But I think there's people who would rather just do stuff for the sake of posting on Insta, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, I've definitely lived that as well, man.
Yeah. Jeez.
Them club nights popping bottles just so you can put it on your story and shit. Yeah, dumb shit, man. Yeah.
I can't lie, yeah, like I still do it once in a while. Not popping bottles though, like that's not me. I would never pop bottles, but because I think that's just dumb. But like I still post some stuff like I'm gonna go out sometimes, just like if it's a vibe, whatever.
Yeah, I think it depends like where you're coming from when you're doing it. It's like, are you doing it because like you're trying to show off and like make yourself look cool, or are you doing it because it's actually like what you're living right now? Do you know what I mean? A lot of people do it because they're trying to show something off.
Yeah.
Like
do you know what I realized? I feel like it doesn't matter. Like whichever one people are doing it for, like it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's just like they're just doing it. The outcome's still the same. They've done it.
Exactly.
It's like what, like, you know, it doesn't really matter what they've done it for. And that's why I kind of stopped like judging people on social media, because I used to do that a lot. Like in there, so just like look at people's stories and like, oh, this person's this person's that. And I realized actually, like most of the time, I'm probably even making mistakes anyways.
Yeah, 100%, man. And it's like also, it's like there's a place for everything and everyone in it. It's like I always used to judge people like fucking, I don't know, like Jay Shetty or like Stephen Bartlett, because they're just like these fucking dudes who like just don't really talk a lot of anything in it. It's just like generic bullshit, and it's that's how I used to see it. But now I'm seeing that actually it's a very valuable place, because people go to them, and that might be someone's first like foray into self-development or like personal growth, or like that might be them like having the exposure to start exploring.
And they might need that mainstream, a bit more of mainstream until they can start exploring
and get further in. Yeah, and they might, you know, I'm not saying that there's not depth to it, because I'm sure there is, but like someone might take that journey like within themselves, like, and go and start to read certain books, or like listen to certain podcasts, or like discover certain things. And there's a place for that, man. Whereas before I was like, fuck these guys, like it's just bullshit, like oh, it doesn't even make sense, doesn't even know what we're talking about, like
it's interesting because like I remember when I first came across Gary Vee, and I was just like, my first impression was like, this is like this loud American guy. And you know what, like as years went on, I swear to God, I started understanding him more and more. And before I used to think like, nah, it's like maybe he's fake or maybe he's this or whatever, but as it went on, like I'm listening to his stuff now. But that's because like, no, I'm not saying I'm him, or like, but I became a little bit more like him, or like my mindset or like my outlook in life is a little bit more similar to his. So I'm understanding it differently, and I'm taking it in. And then I'm hearing other people that are like, oh, Gary Vee's a fraud or whatever. And I'm like, I've been there before. And it's like, it's the internal changes within myself that kind of made a difference. But listen, what's the one thing that people should know about you?
Fuck, no, that's a good question, isn't it? One thing.
Always catching people off guard, man.
I know.
100% record.
We love it. 100% success rate.
That's a sick question. I don't know, man. I don't think there's one thing in it. I'm just me in it. I'm just being me. That's it. Like, I'm not really like, I wouldn't say there's like one thing. Like I said before, I'm not trying to hide nothing, not trying to be anything. I'm just trying to live my life. Do you know what I mean?
I get that. So on that note then, a different question would be, what are like the three, because obviously I think, so let me put it this way, like I think you're a super interesting person. I've seen some of your content on Instagram. So my thing is like, through this episode, I'd like to extract some of that anyways, because I think it'd be valuable for people to listen to. So like, so far in your lifetime, what are like the three most important things or three most valuable things that you've learned?
I think like being like not putting too much judgment on yourself. Like I used to judge myself. Like I used to be very depressed in it when I was younger, like 18 to 25, and I used to judge myself so much for that. Like for like 3 years after, like I realized that I was depressed, and it was just a heavy weight to carry, man. And then it's just like, yeah, you don't have to judge it. And I do it in other ways still, but it's like it's okay to like judge yourself, and it's like you don't have to. Like that's been a big learning. The other thing is like just going with the thing that feels right to you in the moment is normally the best thing. Like regardless of like what the fucking impact might be beyond that moment, but like if you're following your curiosity and what feels right, like that's sick. And then the other thing is like understanding the way that the mind works, man, and the role that thought and how we perceive and create our reality.
So is that more like in a like scientific way, or more like in a psychological way?
I'd say like a psychological and spiritual way.
Like spiritual as well.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that's like psychology is just one part in it, but it's like that's psychology is like the workings of the brain, whereas like spiritual to me is like what exists without like beyond our brains. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? Like I like the fact they said spiritual, because for me as well, like I believe that there is a higher self, and the reason I say that is because I feel like I can always observe my thoughts. So the fact that I can observe it, I'm not my thoughts. I am not what I think. It's just, but I can observe it. And it's interesting because I can actually interact with the thoughts as well. I can change them a little bit, have a conversation with myself. It's super interesting. So like there's this higher self somewhere sort of thing, the spiritual side of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, you know, that's one of the first things that like really hit me was like, oh, I'm not my thoughts. It's like, oh. As simple as it sounds, innit? It's like when you hear it at the right time, it's like, whoa, like throws you off your chair, and you're like, whoa, say that again. I'm not my thoughts. What? That's crazy. And then you start to like you said, you start to realize that actually, if I'm listening to, well, who's the me that's listening to the thoughts?
Ooh, I like that. Is that a title, Aladdin? Yeah, already.
First 5 minutes we're into it.
Yeah, jeez.
Just start with that.
Just
drop the episode in there.
Yeah, that's it. We're done.
So what's because if I'm not my thoughts, because I kind of see it in a different perspective. My thing is more, I'm not my thoughts, cool. But if I control. So I am everything I control. Everything that I control, that is me. So I can control my moods, I can control my personality, I can control my actions, I can control my response, I can control all these things are me, because I can control it. I'm not Leo because I can't control him. I'm not you. I'm not this bottle of water. I can't control these things. I can control me. So anything I am. So like what was it that you said? You're not your thoughts. I can control my thoughts, right? So that's part of me. So if I'm not my thoughts, who is? Who is my thoughts?
Who's that guy that sat in the room and he came up with that quote? I think therefore I am.
Oh, that's it's not Einstein. It's
I forgot his name.
Is it Freud? No, I don't think it's Freud. I think it's.
I thought you were talking about you have not because you asked not.
You have not. No. Let's not get into that right now.
Yeah,
let's not get into that one. But yeah, like that's interesting because like he's not really saying he's his thoughts though, but it says like because he thinks he exists, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So his existence comes from his thoughts. Therefore, his thoughts, from my perspective at least, his thoughts is him.
Yeah.
Because if you change,
or maybe it's part of him.
Yeah. But in turn, anything that's part of you is you, right? Because part of you is like a puzzle piece. If I am the puzzle, every piece is me. Because without the piece, I'll be incomplete. And also, like, if I'm not my thoughts, what if my thoughts are positive? Do I still neglect those thoughts as well?
Well, I think like the way that I would view it, and this is something that I've started to really see deeply recently, is like this is just a vessel, innit? Like, it's just a vessel. Like the brain is a vessel for thought, but where does thought come from? Like thoughts just come in it. Like we don't. Yeah, we can like control certain. Like you say, we can play with thought, we can change them, we can interact with it. But like, where does the original thought come from? It comes from just like something in it. No one knows.
Comes from silence.
Comes from silence.
What is
right?
the subconscious then? The thoughts, because a thought must pass through. At least this is like my kind of scientific bullshittery understanding of how this works. But the thought comes from the subconscious. It passes through the subconscious, and if it qualifies, it will now enter the conscious, and then you can then act on it.
How do you even know if you got subconscious? Because I think like it's been believed for years.
Subconscious is not a real thing. It's just a word or a belief.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy that we use just so we can understand the way of life even more, despite the fact that we will never understand it. It's just no one's going to answer those questions for us. Therefore, we have to create our own answers. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
There is no alien that's going to pull up and say, oh yeah, gravity is not true, it's actually this. No one's going to say that shit. So we have to create our own belief system.
Here's a closed-ended question where you can expand on it. Do you think philosophy's underrated?
Underrated?
Yeah. Or underutilized?
Underutilized, I'd say. I don't think it's underrated. So I think people who are like into philosophy, I don't think most people don't underrate.
That's the thing. But the reason I say it's underrated because like if it wasn't underrated, then most people would be into it.
Yeah.
But because it's underrated, I think only a small amount of people utilize it.
Yeah, maybe. And I think it's a really important thing, man. I think like psychology, philosophy, spirituality, like they're three really key things for life, innit? Really, like psychology is like understanding how our mind works. Philosophy is like, you know, ideology and the idea of things, or like the theory of things or whatever. And then spirituality is like, why are we here? Like kind of thing. You know, if you want to summarize them in a brutal way, but like, yeah, I think philosophy is massively important. And same with like I wouldn't say it's any more important than the other the other two. Like I think as a threesome, they're like so intertwined. Like
as a threesome, they make a bad boy porno.
Yeah, no, it's interesting though. Like I would probably tie philosophy with like reality a little bit, because now I realize like the more philosophical I get, the more my sort of perspective of life changes, and that kind of alters my reality a little bit. And
I have a question. What does philosophy mean to you?
I was going to ask the same question, bro.
What does it mean to me? I think philosophy is just it's an understanding of life, or understanding of sort of like how life functions for me anyways. That's how I would probably break it down. Just maybe kind of like just maybe a template of life. Yeah, because I was using templates before. Yeah, philosophy is a template of life.
I don't think I know what the word means. I've just been using it for the past how long?
I think you do, but that's the thing. Whatever it means to you, that's your meaning anyways.
No,
like,
as in, I don't,
there's the
like,
official...
Obviously, words have no meaning until we give meaning, right? So I can need to choose what words mean. I don't have a thing to describe philosophy. I don't think... I've been saying it for so long, and I believe it's just a mindset thing, but I've only just realised, what the fuck does philosophy mean? Like, I don't think I actually know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
I like the answer though.
What's
It's template for life. I was thinking.
It's quite a good one. I think, I think, I don't know, man. I think like for me, I'd probably say like understanding of life or something like that. When I think of like the philosophers from like back in the day, like Seneca and like, you know, all of them, man, who are like the first philosophers or whatever they called them. It's like all they did was just ask questions about life, innit? Like just query, like, yeah, but why is that right? Why is that wrong? Why do you think that?
So it was almost like the hunger of understanding.
Yeah. But that's what it does though. It gives perspectives though, right? Like asking questions create perspectives. It's like, then I can start looking at things from different angles. And that's the thing, just like I'm such a believer of like, and I find it more difficult in terms of doing it. It's just like saying it's easier. Because like to do it, like I need to like maybe experience something or have some type of conversation. But I believe that it's like, when I change the way I look at things, it's like things I look at change, you know, it's just everything changes. So, you know, there is that element.
When you wear different size shoes, it feels different, innit? I'm a size 8. If I wore a size 7, it feels different. If I wore a size 9, it feels different.
Yeah.
You know that phrase is like, you can never walk in my shoes, or like try walking in my shoes.
I can.
Yeah, let me walk in your shoes, innit?
I can walk in anyone's shoes if they allow me
You
to.
can walk in my sliders though. Easy,
Swear, yeah,
slider gang.
Go on. No, I think stuff like there's a thing I've been trying to explore a lot recently, and that's temporarily borrowing someone else's perspective or mindset. So let's say the biggest example I've chosen is, let's say there's a movie. I had a colleague today ask me, when are you going to go see the next Thor movie? I said, yeah, I'm going to see it Thursday or Friday, whatever. He said, let me know what you think about it, because I'm going to watch it after you. And then my thing is, no, fuck off. I'm not going to do that. And the reason why is because I don't want to affect your perspective. What I want to do is I want to watch the movie. I want to develop my mindset. I want to develop my perspective. I want to understand how I feel from this movie. Of course, we're doing metaphorically, but regardless of that fact, then I want you to go do the same thing. Once I understand my personal perspective and my approach to it, now can I borrow your one? Can I have a conversation with you and literally or figuratively step in your shoes and understand your one from your perspective? Let me shift my seating. Let me sit over there and watch the movie from your seat and understand it from your perspective. Because the thing I love about movies, and this applies to almost everything, there is so many different ways of looking at the same thing. It's fucking amazing. how, and especially movies, like movies, they're designed to be seen in different perspectives. What if you catch something I didn't catch? How can I disallow myself from seeing that perspective by saying, you know what, fuck your opinion, I'm gonna stick to mine? That's selfish. That's selfish of myself. I'm disrespecting myself by not allowing myself to understand a different version of that viewing. How dare I? How dare I?
How dare you?
How
It's
dare
rude.
I?
It's
How
rude.
dare? That's rude. That's super
How dare
rude.
I? What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that though. I like that idea of borrowing someone else's perspective.
Yeah,
But I think that's how you learn, isn't it?
Of course.
It's
You know
like
what?
if you just stick to what you think you know, you're not ever really going to learn anything. It's like there's a saying, knowing is the enemy of learning.
Always.
It's like if this is
100%.
what you know and you just stick to that, then you're neglecting all of this stuff out here that you can learn. Whereas if you like go outside of your own perspective or like your own whatever, it's like you're going into the land of like, I don't know this now, like teach me something about it.
So allow yourself. You almost like allowing yourself to become a better version of yourself. I started doing this thing recently where, instead of asking how are you, my question is who are you today? Because I believe everyone, there's no such thing as the same person more than once. Sorry, the person you are today and the person you are tomorrow are two completely different people. In a microscopical level, a lot of the time is in a very, very, very atomic level, but it is a completely different person. Because if it was the same people every single day, there would be no such thing as progress. There would be no such thing as being a better version. There would be no such thing as purpose. It would just be static and stagnant and consistent. It would be like a bug's life.
What's been the outcome so far from asking that question? Like, what's been your results?
Talking to Mike. And
I'm talking to
you're removing it. Just bring it closer. The outcome is one of the most fascinating things is the fact that no one understands the question, or not many people understand the question. Because a lot of them say, "Oh, who am I today? Oh, I'm for fucking same as yesterday. I'm going to be the same as tomorrow." I'm like, no.
Is it that they don't understand the question or they don't understand themselves?
It may be that. Maybe I just fucking asked it in the dumb way, or maybe they don't understand themselves. Maybe it's just a thing where, they don't understand my. They didn't listen to my question. They're listening, right? They didn't hear what I'm saying. They listened to their version of what I'm saying. So from their perspective is, who the fuck am I today? Oh shit, I'm Aladdin. I'm a guy doing this. They tell me what they're doing, not who they are. Who am I? So whenever they ask the question back to me, my response would always be, I'm a better version of myself yesterday, and I'm a guy looking forward to tomorrow because I get to be a better version of myself tomorrow. And rinse and repeat, and I'm constantly progressing, constantly working towards my purpose. Fucking love it.
So
Life is beautiful.
So what I want to do, can we swap seats for like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, or even longer than that.
What's happening?
Different perspective, innit?
God, you get the short SM7B mic. You get a better mic.
How do you know that mic is better though?
It is better.
Subjective.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. What Adam was saying. But yeah, this is interesting. Like, I'm having a different experience already.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it's mad.
You can see yourself. See, Leo, from Leo's
this is
perspective, it's mad. Leo's perspective, he can see himself.
I don't even see myself. I haven't got my glasses, innit?
And he does. That's a different lens.
Jeez, man, the lenses, bro.
You can borrow these.
Man,
That's
man,
another.
man, man, are you
That's another
short-sighted?
perspective, innit?
Are you short-sighted?
Yeah.
So you can't see into
Can't see
distance?
far. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
I
short-sighted.
think I'm the
as well.
same, But I've neglected the fact that I'm just neglecting glasses as much as I can.
It's a game changer, man.
You think?
Yeah.
Being able to see.
You see things in HD again. It's nice. When you wake up in the morning and you slip the glasses on, it's like,
everything.
But doesn't that ruin your eyes? Because it gets your eyes used to wearing the glasses and allows you to
I'd
rely
rather be able to see than not, to be fair.
Yeah. I'm kind of like I've been playing around with it, so like I don't wear them all the time. I wear them mostly when I'm driving or like if I'm using a computer or whatever. So I try to like just use my eyes as much as I can in general.
I find that I end up squinting a lot and giving myself a headache.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not pleasant, man. It's like, there's something I can do to like prevent that. Just wear my glasses.
I remember when
I
remember when I first got the glasses. That's when I had a headache for like the first few days because my eyes just couldn't like. I must have been short-sighted for a very long time, maybe like 7 years prior to wearing glasses. I just didn't. Well, I kind of knew over time. I knew it, but when I put them on, it's like I had a headache for like 2 days because my eyes just like, what the hell, like just couldn't adjust to it because my eyes started processing more images like than it could usually. If other things are blurry, it doesn't worry about it,
Yeah, it's true, man.
It's interesting
like,
how it works.
It's like my eyes when I didn't get glasses, I got contacts first. And it's like adjusting to that was mad.
But you're never
It's like,
scared that it would just roll back. Like,
yeah. Sometimes they do get stuck in your eye, and you just gotta like yank it out and
yank it out.
not yank it out, but like you gotta like fiddle with it and get it out, and then you gotta pray that you've got a spare somewhere. Otherwise, you're walking around like see you in one eye, can't see you.
Yeah, man, I said yank out. Do you know what? I want to take it back to what I was talking about before we start filming this, which was around connection.
Yeah.
Like, I guess maybe like the question is like, how important do you think connection is, like, for people in general? Because I don't think it's just something people talk about. It's just something that people either take as given or something that's just there, or, you know, like I think it's taken for granted.
I think it's very important, and I think there's different levels to connection as well. In my opinion, I think there's like connection like this, like we're connecting right now. It's like on a personal level. Then there's obviously like connection through your phone now with people. But like beyond all of that, there's like a connection to like everything and everyone and like all things. Like, and that for me is like the most important connection to have, because like the more I've leaned into that as like connecting to and feeling like I'm part of everything and everyone, the more compassion you have for things, the more compassion you have for the world, the more, you know, open you are to like just like doing stuff like this, isn't it? Chilling, hearing about people's conversations, rather than thinking like, oh, this is me, Alex, experiencing it. It's like, I'm actually part of all of this, experiencing all of this at the same time. What can I learn from it? I think that's been the biggest game changer for me when it comes to connection. It's like feeling, knowing that I'm connected to something bigger than what I'll probably ever be able to comprehend in my life. Like there's bare mad like scientific studies of like, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but there's this study they did where they had like one atom, I might get the countries wrong, but they had like one atom in America and another atom in like the twin atom in Australia. When they affected the atom in America, the one in Australia reacted exactly the same at the exact same time. Like they're somehow connected like on different sides of the planet, and it's like that's just two tiny little atoms. Like imagine like all of the connection we have to like things that are like on different planets, different galaxies, different, like it's just
everything's like interconnected sort of thing. Do you know what it is? Yeah, I try not to like think about like where we come from, or it does like, I find it fascinating because like sometimes there's a level of gratitude of like we actually exist, and how did we come to exist? Like, I don't know, I can't even imagine, I can't even start to imagine. But like I tend not to think about it too much, because it's like it's a never ending sort of like thought, or like a loop. It just goes in loops, because really and truly I don't always have the answer, and I feel like sometimes it's cool not to know what the answer is. I think there's a little bit of like contentness, like, you know, I don't know what it is, but actually I'm just gonna enjoy the existence anyways, without knowing. That's kind of why. I guess this is something that I kind of dislike about humans, but like maybe I guess he dislikes humans as well, just in general, just so you know. Just un poco. No, I think it's like maybe even religion as well, is the fact that we as beings must know. We need to know. We need to know what's the answer to this and this and this and that, and that's why we create laws, like laws of nature and laws of space, time, and laws of this and this, that. Who created the law? Humans. What changes? The human mind. Why are we following a constantly changing mindset? And to us, it's true. It feels true. Like this feels like a tangible object, so it must have some type of density. Or if I drop it, if gravity plays its part, or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it is very, very possible for an alien to pull up and say, well, go on, your gravity runs like this still. Nah, bro, you got it all wrong. And who are we to say, no, you're wrong? Because we just love to believe, and I think, like you said, there's the idea of just not having to know. There's a sense of calm that comes with that. It's just like, you know what, I'm happy just not fucking knowing. I'm happy just staying in my little bubble here, expanding it where it's necessary, and just not worrying about stuff that just don't matter. But that being said, if we all fall like that, then we wouldn't have the technological advancements we have today. So that's what I was gonna say. Would you rather? That was gonna be my question. Yeah. Would you rather live right now if you had to? Would you rather live right now, or would you live in like, let's say, Stone Ages and you had to hunt? Who am I? All I know is what I know until someone presents on YouTube. No, I'm saying, is like, it the version of myself who I am today going back there? Or is it a version of myself that's all I've ever known was Stone Age life? I don't know about this life here.
Because all we do is compare, right?
That's the problem with philosophy. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to turn it off because you know that it's like if you turn off the switch, it's like,
turn off.
Yeah, just turn it off and just answer the question.
No, no. Like what version? Bro, whenever people ask me these fucked up questions, yeah, like scenario questions, I always like I have to fucking mathematize my way into answering the question. What version of myself am I? Because all we know
the
is
Stone Age version.
Then fucking I'd rather live there.
Yeah,
because I don't know this. I don't know technology. I don't know computer and mixer and camera. I don't know this shit. All I know is hunt, live, eat, fucking sleep. That's all I know.
What if you know both and you had to pick one?
I pick this.
Okay.
I fucking pick this 100%.
Thanks for the answer.
Is that what you want to get at me? Just want to squeeze that bullshit.
I just wanted to know, like, what would you pick? What would you pick, Alex?
Same, man. I think this, innit? I think if you go from this back to then, it's a big shift, man, innit? It's a totally different way of living. But like Aladdin was saying, if that's all you know, and you were offered to come here, you'd probably just like do that because this would be too much of a wild change, like the other way around. So,
I've got a question for him. I think I asked this before. Given opportunity to go back either 500 years into the past or 500 years into the future and spend a day, which would you choose?
500 years into the past. When would that be? I'm trying to figure that out. 1500 something.
People swinging swords and shit.
Vikings, or like Game of Thrones and shit. Would you rather live the real life Game of Thrones or live the real life Blade Runner?
I think from a interested point of view, I think I'd rather go back in time.
Yeah.
And see how people lived. But then if I was being selfish and I could go and spend a day in the future, there's a lot of advantage I could make of that right now.
No, okay, not like that.
no, but
I'm saying I say okay. I'll ask this question in a multiversal way.
Yeah.
Not like, you know, the whole Martin McFly, you go back and you kill your grandfather and whatever bullshit. Now I'm asking in a multiversal way. So whatever you find out in the future is not the future that you're about to live. It's just a different version of the world, I guess. Considering you can't take any advantage, what kind of what is? Because I think this question answers more. Like I look for the answer of who are you, what kind of person you are, what's your interest, what's your curiosity. For me, future, no doubt. I'd rather go into the future. One of the main reasons why is because we already know the past. At least a lot of the past.
You're already in the future. You're already in the future.
Everyone's future. I mean, yeah, to be fair, actually, I do understand about the whole history thing because it is his story. He tells the story. It's not everyone's story. Because there were light bulbs in Egypt way before Newton pulled up and did what he did. So I do understand the whole going back, but I just love technology, so I would always go forward. You going?
I'm going
to go to the day. Watch him say I'm going to stay where I am. Watch him. Go on.
Huh?
You're gonna say I'm gonna stay where I am, innit?
Well, yeah.
Fucking
that's what I like to say. But for the sake of, I'm not gonna be an arsehole like you.
Predictable little bitch.
He's not throwing neat remixes in.
Do you know what? I'd probably I'd love to be like a Viking, you know, just been raiding and pillaging somewhere.
I think it'd be fascinating, isn't it? It's like a very different way of living. You know, I think who knows what flipping 500 years in the future.
Do you know what? In an interesting way, I think I'd go back in time purely because I feel like. And it's going to sound it's subjective, but I feel like future is probably a bit more restrictive, while past is probably more free. In a sense of like what we might be tied to in the future and what we're tied to back in.
Yeah, back then it'd be a lot easier to fucking get killed.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, but still, like go smith a sword or something and just go out there.
You've been playing way too much fucking God of War, some shit, because you think it's that easy, boy. Yeah.
I know it's not that easy, but still. Have you not seen that
Northman,
that sport that they do in America, where there's like they actually dress up in armor? I think they do in other parts of the world as well, but in America it's quite big right now. So they kind of do like this medieval sort of fights. They get shield and everything, but they pop out like whacking each other on their head and just stomping with shields and like it's just crazy.
To death.
Huh? No, not to death, but it's mad. Like I can't imagine how many concussions someone's got from that.
There's what's the word for it? There's a proper word for it, isn't there? But yeah, it's mad. Like they make festivals in it, and they just come together and they just like
there's the big ones and there's also one-on-ones. There's all kinds of stuff. Yeah, but do you know what I find interesting? Like so, after seeing how those fights go. And then I watch movies that kind of set in like medieval ages where one guy just like swinging it and just rolling and like dancing with a sword and stuff. I'm like, actually, nah, it didn't go down like that. It must have been hard.
I got a question for you too. Do you believe in evolution?
Or the monkey thing?
Evolution.
So we're talking physical, right? Physical evolution of going from one to one. Or is it mental? What are we saying?
Evolution, however you interpret that.
Yeah. My interpretation of the question is: do you believe in the constant progression of a mindset and the development of advancements within the mind? Of fucking course, I do that shit every day. I literally experience
What about physical?
Physical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I grow hairs all over the gaff.
I don't believe in it.
You don't? Why not?
No, I think evolution is subjective because like we can think that we're going forward, but we might be going backwards. Like, well, who's to say that back in the day it wasn't more progressive than it is now? I think the only reason I don't believe in it, I think the game is the same, just the platforms have changed. I think the goal of the game is the same. It's like it's life, innit? Like if you get to live, just how we live's changed. But there's no evolution. We still live.
Yeah.
You know, might live longer, might live less because of like certain technologies or advancements. That I believe in that. I believe in advancements of technologies, but I don't think as humans like we're evolving. We're still doing the same thing, just in a different way.
Yeah. No, I hear that. It's funny because I always think like if you go back to like I don't know like ancient Egyptians for example, it's like technologically in terms of how we know technology to be, it looks like they weren't as advanced. But then you look at like the way they built shit like the pyramids and like the meaning of it and like the position of it in relation to like the stars and all this stuff. It's like they were obviously a lot more tapped into like a different type of technological advancement. Like, they were more connected to like the source of life rather than like we're like I feel like we're further away from that. We're more connected to like digital technology rather than like actual like I don't know what the word would be like the quantum realms of technology. You know what I mean?
No, I agree with you. I feel like in the past, like I think the innovations that's happened in the past, I feel like there's been some really, really like smart and intelligent people that we don't necessarily have today. It's like now it's just like things are just more simple, like people just find simple discoveries or whatever. It's not nothing like super complicated, but like looking at what they pioneered back in the day and what they've given us from then to what we've got now, it's like I feel like that was way more significant.
I wonder what a world would be like if black people slaved white people instead. I'd be so fascinated to see what kind of world that would be.
That would be mad.
It could be the same though, because a lot of black culture is a result of the slavery. Like the whole like you got stuff like the cornrows was a result. It was like a map to escape certain villages, or you got like seasonings was a result of black people being given the dead parts of the meat, like the shit parts of the meat. So they had to find a way to make it taste good. So they developed like seasonings and shit like that. A lot and music as well. Music was a big one that was inspired by slavery. So I'm fascinated to understand a world where that just fucking switched. It's part of the multiverse, man. Because in the multiverse we can explore that shit. Just how we can access it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that would be mad actually. You think like I don't know, man. Like, what would the world be like? We'll never know, really, to be honest. But yeah, it's a mad thing to think about. Like if it was the other way around,
I reckon it'll be the same.
Probably.
In what sense?
Like the way the white people, when I say the quotation marks, it would just the skin will be changed. The activities and the acts and the behaviors will be the same. Because it's a mindset, right? It's a mindset of I am superior to you. Therefore, I deserve. I am entitled to more than you. That's what led to the whole idea of slavery. It's just the mindset of I am better. So that's then if let's say black people at the time had that mindset, then they'll be the same way they are.
Do you think like so? It's an interesting conversation. Do you think slavery happened because of the thing of like I'm superior to you, or do you think it happened maybe for like game purposes? So like someone found a way that like you know what I'm going to gain rather than I'm superior to you, and maybe the superior thing came later.
I think the gain came out later, man. I think the superior thing came first. I think I don't know. It's just there was an element of power, like a greed for power, and I guess an element of the thing. It's fucked up. It's fucked for me to say this, but as much as I disagree with people's actions, no matter how much of a dickhead you are, you have to respect certain traits they have, right? So Hitler was one of the examples I'll pick from. Yeah, cool. I'm anti-Nazi, and this is like standard shit. We all disagree with the Nazis and shit, but the respect for the traits, do we have that? Can you respect a man despite their fuckeries? For their traits, this guy was dedicated. This guy managed to convince the whole country to do some fuckeries. This guy was inspiring. These traits are inspirational. What he did with it, we can disagree with that all the day long. We already know that. But what did he do with these traits? How can I be inspired by my man? Not to do what he did, but to understand. I think this is the thing that we should really like. Public speaking schools or lessons should be playing Hitler videos. Because that motherfucker is one of the best public speakers in the planet. This guy convinced a whole country to do a fuckery. It wasn't like a thing where he said you put up on the first day. He said, you know what? Hey, you man. Hey, these Jewish people are fucked. Let's go body. No, he didn't fucking just. He did it in a way. He's a master manipulator, and you have to fucking respect that shit. What you did with it, again, we have to disagree with it, and it was a fuckery and whatever. But then again, at the same time, no one's a villain of their own story. Everyone's the hero for their own story, innit?
Well, that's the thing in life. It's like everyone's got abilities, right? So like some people got some incredible abilities. It's just what they use it for. That's a whole different conversation.
Well, I think like the Hitler thing is always interesting because I always use him as an example. There's a saying that I always use, which is anyone is only ever doing the best they can with the thinking they have.
Yeah.
And it's like Hitler, to him, like what he did was right.
Yeah.
And like
exactly.
we can all agree it wasn't right. But a lot of people would disagree with like the actions and everything that came out of it, and that, you know, the millions of people that lost their lives and stuff, and in the way that they lost their lives. But to him, what he was doing was right. And it's like, to me, that's a really good example, because it's like we can then take that into today's life. And if someone wrongs us or something happens, or we don't agree with what someone's doing, or someone's a sociopath or a narcissist, or, you know, all of this other things that people kind of throw around, it's like that person's only doing the best they can with the thinking they have. Like if they didn't think they were right, they probably wouldn't do it, innit?
Do you know what's even crazy? It was so fascinating to me. Someone told me something really interesting about Jehovah's Witnesses. So correct me if I'm wrong, they're the type of people that will go to people's doors and knock at them in. Have you heard about your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, all that stuff? Now, let's say cool, you went outside after this podcast, you was on your way home. God appeared to you and started talking a madness to you and started telling you, oh, this is the way of life, this is how you get to, and it was a real experience you experienced. Mama pulled up to you and said, yeah, well, go on, like this is how you get to heaven. Would you not think, oh shit, I am burdened with this information, why would I ever keep this to myself? So the thing is, and the reason why I say this is because in their world, in their universe, there is no other way. And what's amazing is the fact that maybe they're fucking right. The only thing is, because they're not part of our common unity, we are all going to look down on them. If 100 people did the wrong thing, one person did the right thing, we're all going to look down on that person. And it's a matter of how good is their mental stability and how much can you hold on to what you think is true. The fact of the matter is, yeah, we all think what Hitler did was wrong. But is it because what he did is wrong? Or is it because he wasn't part of our common unity? What if it was right?
I think, do you know what? Let me just touch on this, because I feel like this is not something that people talk about too much nowadays. I think when it comes to belief, I think people need to start separating belief and delusion, because I feel like sometimes some people are delusional.
What's the difference?
There's a big difference, because like, let's say like if I believe that if I'm going to jump out this window right now, I'm going to like fall down. That's a belief, because usually like beliefs are not all the time, but they're usually in line to some reality, right? Being delusional, if I believe that I'm going to jump out this window and I'm going to fly, there's a bit of like delusion in there. I just
think delusional is not part of community. It's just someone that's not part of the one consistent. Someone that believes something different to the rest of them. And the problem is, this is what I spoke about when we were talking to Sachin the other day. I think mental illness is a big one as well. I think mental illness is someone who sees the world from a completely different lens to everyone else and is made to feel bad about themselves because of their difference. Like this person, he may have some type of mental disorder where they're doing something that you look and think, you're going for you. Like you're doing something unusual to what I'm familiar with. Is that like quote? The man who's seen dancing is thought to be crazy by the people that can't hear the music. Yeah. If someone's out is doing like screaming in the streets and doing this, that, and you look and think, you're not doing what we do, therefore you must be delusional. How dare we?
So can you jump out the window and fly?
Probably not.
So, but what I'm saying, so that's where delusion comes in. Like some people actually literally believe that they can jump out the window and fly. So that's delusional. So sometimes, like for example, I think in Hitler's scenario, since we're on this topic, I think the fact that he thought that he can solve the problem in that way, I think he was delusional. Because I think it's already like proven in the world that through violence, like it's not, like if there's no conversation involved, nothing's going to change.
Yeah. I always say that Hitler and Churchill would have been best friends if they sat down and had a cup of coffee, or had some beer. If they sat down and had a conversation, they'll be the best of friends. So I do believe that his methods may be a little bit delusional. Don't get me wrong. I definitely, from my community and my belief system, I think it was wrong. I'm just trying to explore the idea of are my thoughts my own thoughts, or my thoughts and the product of my environment? Because then what if I lived what if I went back for X amount of years and I was alive in, was it 1940, let's say 42 for example, mid World War II, and I was living in Germany and I was listening to this guy's quotes and shit and speeches and thought, raw, my man had a point still. The same way, and I think one of the best examples of this is, you don't seen like Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
Fucking my man had a point.
Listen, if he had a point, why is this point not carried on then?
So do you believe the people that are ruling the world have a good point?
I didn't say that. I'm saying his point in general, like, because I feel like when people got point, like, point usually lives on.
No.
Why not?
It lives on with memory. But if I have a certain level of power or influence over the world, I can just put that shit, because what's living on is the fact that the white supremacy is continuing to live on. After slavery, white supremacy continues to live on. Do you think that's right? Fuck no. Oh, do we believe it's right? Fuck no. So just because he had a point or not doesn't mean he's right, or doesn't mean it was like, just because it lives on doesn't mean it's right. It's just, is your influence strong? I don't think the world we live, because I believe if that was true, then the world we live in would be much more peaceful.
Isn't there an argument the world is peaceful? We just create the conflict. If all humans are wiped off the planet, face of the planet, what's left behind? Peace, innit?
Yeah.
Like I was saying to Leo before, like there's a quote that I came up with some point last year. I always butcher my own quote, but it's mine, so I can do that, innit? I've got the rights to it. It's my IP.
NFT.
But it's like, we create conflict trying to find peace, but we forget that the peace is already there when there is no conflict. And it's like, that's kind of like why I disagree with a lot of war, and you can look at conflict in terms of war or internal conflict. Like I disagree with a lot of war and conflict, because what's the point to it? We're trying to create peace by creating conflict, but if all of the conflict stopped, what's left in it? Like if you look at I don't know loads about it, but you look at what's going on all over the world right now, Russia, Ukraine, like Syria, like all of these places, there's all of this conflict, all of this war. If all of those wars stopped, what's left?
Peace.
I don't think
you don't need the war, innit?
I don't think so.
I think internal conflict is what causes conflict in the first place. And it's I had this stupid idea. Now I realize it wouldn't work, but I would have loved to take all the world leaders onto like a retreat.
Yeah.
For like a week.
Hitler, Churchill,
for like a week. But just basically like just take them on like this like conversation of peace. And then if anyone if it didn't work out, just take out the rest of them. Like whoever was like, not, you know what I'm saying? But then I realized actually it's not usually just them. It's like, what about the other people that they'll go back to afterwards? What about them? So it's not just the world leaders. It's like there's so many different people involved.
I think that kind of stuff's always to me, it's a reflection of, like you said, internal conflict. Like it starts with the internal conflict, and then our actions like become the external version of that internal conflict.
Yeah. Just imagine getting all the world leaders in the resi and they're just like just chilling, drinking tea, like just being normal humans, like, you know what I'm saying?
What makes a human though? Because I believe
do you know what makes a human?
What's that?
LinkedIn.
I don't get that one. Explain that one to me.
You don't know what LinkedIn is?
Of course I know what LinkedIn is. I don't know how it relates to the...
I don't know, it's just a joke because I don't like LinkedIn.
Anyway, because I think what makes a human is our bad traits. Our idea, or our need to know, our need for constant progress and purpose, our need... My need. I know, I'll fuck it.
No, I can't relate.
It's fine. You're not above it. Our need to constantly strive for happiness, but never being allowed to fully hold it for long enough to...
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think happiness is something that we must always aim for. But if we was allowed to hold it for longer than a certain period of time, our life becomes meaningless.
What does happiness mean to you then?
Why?
Yeah, on the next episode, find out.
To be continued.
On part TBC.
What does happiness mean?
What do you think from your, obviously you can only speak from your perspective, and I always find it fascinating. It's like when people use the thing of like ours, mine. I do that sometimes too. When people go like ours, mine, we, whatever. But actually you're talking about yourself. Everything you just said.
I'm talking about my perspective on.
Yeah, but everything you just said, you're talking about yourself.
No, I don't think it. I think
when you spoke about happiness, you spoke about your happiness.
No,
you can't allow to hold it for too long.
I was speaking about my perspective.
Where does your perspective come from?
It comes from myself.
Thank you.
But doesn't mean I'm speaking about myself, bro. If I speak about my perspective is inside out, right? It's my understanding of outwards. Huh?
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about my understanding of the civilization I am part of. Doesn't mean I'm talking about myself, right?
Which comes from?
Just because I said myself doesn't mean that your point is proven. I don't understand.
I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm just saying, like, I think in the world we're living in, it's like it's very difficult to take responsibility for the things that I might be talking about. So it's easier to deny the responsibility and say like, oh, like when you do this thing, when you do that or whatever. Really, I'm talking about myself when I do that, and that's my experience. So sometimes it might not be my current experience. It could have been my past experience, but it still comes from me because I'm talking about myself. So I think people don't take responsibility for what they say in general. But I was going to say, so from your perspective, what do you feel like human beings lack the most, or like what the world lacks the most?
Lacks?
Yeah, at the moment.
Compassion? Definitely, man. Like, because if we're saying like, I am you, you are me, I am you, you are me, you are him, like we're all we're all like one thing, right? Then you're only ever going to have compassion for yourself, innit? If I'm looking at you, but I'm actually looking at me, why am I not going to have compassion for that? And it's like, we don't see that in the world. Like there's a lot of, again, comes back to the conflict things, a lot of conflict in the world because there's a lack of compassion for other people, for seeing like each other as being one of the same thing. It's like, if we saw that, then the world would be different, isn't it? Imagine a world where everyone was like so compassionate towards each other.
Yeah.
I think there'll be something else to argue about. I think there'll be something. I think that I just always believe there's always going to be something to create bad so that we can experience good. Because we must have bad to experience.
Do good and bad even exist? Or they're just ideologies, concepts?
Yeah.
Do you create bad for good to exist?
Yeah. I do all the time. Like intentionally, I create bad so that I can, because I know good is following. So I do it. Like you almost kind of create.
But then who's to say what's good, what's bad, right? Yeah. I see those things as a concept. But there is no good, there is no bad. But all there is my perspective of what I see as good and what I see as bad. Yeah. But actually, none of it exists. It's just neutral.
So there is no good and bad. There's only perspective, and the perspective that is perspective is good and bad. Perspective is the yin and yang. Is both within one, and we get to distribute left, right, left, right, left, right. So you can see one thing as good. I can see one thing as bad, and it could be the same thing, but it's just the thing in of itself exists. It's just. It's not unanimously good. It's not unanimously bad. It's just individually good or individually bad.
But then, if it doesn't exist and they're just a concept, why would you need to have one to follow the other?
Because then there's no life after that. Without this, there is no life.
Without what?
Without understanding of good and bad, yin and yang. I believe life is all about balance. Everything in life is in balance. So we need to kind of weigh everything and kind of. Well, at least I do.
So where does the life go if there's no good and bad?
To a fucking pile of shit. That's where it goes.
Where does it go?
To just meaninglessness.
Is it?
That's my belief.
So is every meaning good or bad? Is every meaning good or bad?
Yeah.
Or is good or bad labeled to a meaning?
Good or bad is a perspective.
Can the meaning still be there without it being good or bad?
I realized I did used to believe in the whole there is no good or bad, there's only perspective, and I still believe.
For people that are listening to this are probably thinking, what the fuck are these guys talking about?
Yeah, probably, but there are no rules. I used to believe I still do believe to that extent there is no good or bad, there's only perspective. But now I think there is no unanimous good or bad. I think good or bad is there because I believe without it there is no life. It's just there is no such thing as unanimous good or bad. Me putting a bullet in Leo's head is not unanimously good. I think it's good. He'll think it's bad. Understand? It's only individual good and bad. How do you perceive it? How do I perceive it? How does he perceive it? How does they perceive it?
What if it's just like putting a bullet in someone's head and it didn't get labeled as good or bad?
Then that's meaninglessness. There is no meaning unless we give it meaning.
In your map of the world.
In my map of the world.
Unless I give the meaning.
Unless I could fuck off.
Nice. Because I can't relate to I can't relate. So if you said I, that sounds different to me.
Yeah.
Because when you're saying, I'm just like, what? You're saying we, so that you're including me. I'm just like, that doesn't sound right to me. So, but if you said I, like suddenly I don't have to think about that.
What if my we doesn't include you? What if my we includes me, myself, and I? That's 3 people. That counts as a we, right?
That's so cool.
All right.
Can I be part of that?
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? You mentioned like happiness and peace earlier, and just, I'm gonna flip it on you, because obviously you asked Aladdin, what does happiness mean? So what does happiness mean to you?
I think for me, it's like, I think happiness is in the moment. Like it only exists here and now, and it's like being at peace with whatever is happening now, whatever that now is, whenever that now is. It's just a constant stream of now. Being at peace, and that's happiness, because again, it goes back to the thing. There's no conflict. There's nothing, and it's like we've got access in the now to anything, any feeling, any experience, because all of that stuff's internal, innit? Like Aladdin said it before, right? Our experience is inside out. So if I think like, oh, I'm having a really good time right now, the feeling that's being created in me is coming from me. It's not because we're here having a cool, interesting, funny conversation. Yeah. It's coming from my experience, and I've got access to that at any time. So when we really slow down to that as the truth, then being at peace with what's happening now brings you happiness, because you can experience happiness whenever you want. And that's super powerful, because it's like, if you really slow down to that, one of my favorite sayings is, it doesn't get better than this. Yeah. I'm having a good time right now, innit? Doesn't get better than this. I could go and win the Euro Millions and win 170 million pounds or whatever tomorrow. Still doesn't get better than this. The feelings that I'm having and can experience now, it doesn't get better outside of that, because more, better, and different don't exist. They're just ideas and concepts that suggest that something outside of the experience we're having now is going to create something more different or better within us.
My question to that is, without more different and better, what do we have left? And I believe that there isn't. Without these 3 things, understanding that they're concepts is a big priority for me. I understand that it is a concept, it's a thing that we've created for ourselves. But why have we created for ourselves? We created to understand. It's just so we can feel and understand that what these things are that we're experiencing. So if they are concepts, are we meant to neglect them? Are we meant to get rid of them? Or like say, you know what, they're concepts, so they have no truth, piss off? Or are we meant to understand them and then embrace them?
I think like my opinion on that is like, it's coming from the place of understanding that more, different, and better can't give us anything outside of what we can create and experience for ourselves right now. And when you understand that, then you experience more, different, and better very
differently.
Ironically, differently,
I think that's I understand. I like that. So now I understand what you mean by I understand what you mean by that, and as a result of that, I believe that I am more better. Yeah. Is it better, more?
More better,
I've used 2 of your 3.
No, but it's true. Like, because it's like you think like, oh, I need more money.
Yeah.
Do you? What you think? If you have more money, you're gonna be happier.
Well, if I said I need more mindset, or I need a better mindset, is that valuable?
But do you? What if your mindset was already perfect and whole and complete as it is?
Then there's nothing to strive for after that. I must have skipped the bucket.
Skip the bucket, yeah.
Or kick the bucket.
When you say that, how do you feel about that?
When I say which part?
There's nothing more to strive for.
I feel the need to strive. Whenever I believe that our entire life, like I said earlier, I think our entire life should be us. My entire life at least should be me aiming to be amazing and better and sensational, but never being sensational, and never being allowed to reach it for longer than just a smidget of time. Like I'll do, and then I reach, and then I go back and do it again. And every time I do that, I'm climbing higher and higher up the ladder. Because with these things, it gives me purpose. And without purpose, and I've had this epiphany a lot recently about a lack of purpose and what life is with a lack of purpose. It's just a lot of repetitivity of just nothingness, and I just don't feel good. I don't feel happy, or whatever these emotions that we've labelled to understand. But without purpose, I think purpose is one of the most important things as a civilization require in order to live the best we can. And Elon Musk has a purpose. Jeff Bezos has a purpose. Fucking Steve Jobs. These people have purposes, and as a result, our civilization has benefited. We've also disadvantaged. We disted from it, but we've also benefited from it as a result of their need to strive and have purpose. So why can't I just take that within myself and say, you know, let me have purpose as well. Let me see what happens if I had purpose. Let's see how far I can go. Let me go to the moon. Let me go to Mars with man Elon. See what's up there, sir. You know what I'm saying? Go on.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I like that. Do you know what? So a good question is, and I think this is good for like people that listen as well. They can ask that themselves too. And this is what I was going to ask you actually, and I'm going to ask you too. You don't have to answer it, by the way. It's just a question. Yeah, you can take it off. That you don't have to answer it now. But it's like, how do you fuck yourself up?
So you get 2 fingers, and
but it's a good question, because like you was talking about, like that's where the question came from. Actually, I remember this question because this is a question I used to hold on for a while. But you were saying that thing is like you'd be happy, and then you just like you do something to remind you that whatever, like it's not. I can't really articulate what you were saying.
Do you want me to do it for you?
Huh?
Do you want to give him permission to do it for you, to re-articulate what?
No, you do.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. Basically, essentially, short story long is happiness and these emotions of sensational and whatever. These are things that I believe I need to strive for and have a moment of holding it before letting go of it so that I can reach it again. And that element of repetitivity allows constant progression. It's not like you're doing the same thing on the same level playing field. Every time you do it, you're higher up the ladder. And you do it again and again. And stuff that you found difficult yesterday becomes easy today. And once you notice that, it's like, shit, I'm better. Which means if I am better than I was yesterday, how better can I actually get? That's what I was trying. That's the point I was trying to make. So, based on that, you said, what was your question again?
So how do you fuck yourself up?
By neglecting yourself, man. By neglecting your own progressiveness. Not allowing yourself to say, you know what, I want to be a better version of myself. That's how you fuck yourself up.
I like what Max said. I don't think there is better.
There ain't. I think there ain't. Like, I think like for me, it's like, how do you fuck yourself up? It's like by thinking that I'll be happy when. That fucked me up for a long time, innit? Like long time.
Yeah, but
I'll be happy when.
Because my thing is, I'll be happy when, and I reach when, and do it again. I'll be happy when, and I know when I reach the first one, there's gonna be another one.
And then we're happy.
No, but that's the thing. I don't think happiness should be a thing we should have, or I should have. I never want to be happy. I want to aim for happiness. I want to hold happiness for a little bit, then I want to let the fucker go and chase it again, and do that on repeat.
Sounds tiring though to me.
Yeah, it sounds
to you it sounds exhausting. To me, it sounds progressive.
But how's that working out for you?
I'd fucking love it, my boy.
Yeah.
I love it. Generally, I fucking enjoy it because
that's it. There you go. Like, my favorite thing in life as well, and this is an important thing as well. It's like, you know, if something's bringing you value and you're it's working for you, then
let's do it.
Yeah, that's it.
And it goes to like what we were saying before, innit? It's like we're all seeing and understanding this conversation differently. Like my opinion is different to yours, different to yours, but like I can't say that your opinion's wrong because it's your opinion, innit? I can't say you can't say mine's wrong because it's my opinion. It's like that. There's power in that as well, to be able to have these conversations with different perspectives and not like be throwing judgment at it. That fucks people up as well, throwing judgment and shit, because it's like you're not really judging. I'm not really judging you. If I were to be judging what you were saying, I'm judging myself through what you're saying.
It's like you're looking at someone saying, "Rah, you're not part of my community. How dare you say what you're gonna say? Fuck you." You feel me? Or instead we should do what that you said I can align with. What can I align with what you said, and the rest of what you said I can understand and validate and listen, understand and validate, love, and then work with that. It's just we need to give truth to what someone's belief system is, but truth within themselves rather than truth within myself. The truth is I heard you. Your truth is you believe that. That's how we unfuck ourselves.
Do you know what? There is this interesting thing that I was thinking about just now, like there might be like, so I understand the whole like judgment thing, and sometimes we project. It's like the thing of like, if I ask how you're doing, it's like I'm still gonna you're gonna reply how you're doing, but then I'm gonna take in through my lens and make like judgments on like how you're doing, and that might not even be true. But there is that interesting thing of like, sometimes there's a pattern, right? So sometimes actually like I might be, maybe in my life I've went through certain patterns which I can identify someone else going through as well. And then there is that potential, there's a cool, like maybe there's a solution to that, or there's a solution to this, because I understand the pattern, or I've experienced the pattern. And maybe obviously I think there is that thing of like, maybe experience it differently or whatever. But there is an element of like, sometimes actually it's cool to judge as well. It's not, or it's cool to kind of make assumptions. It's not always the opposite. It's like, never judge, don't make assumptions. Some assumptions and judgments can be useful for another person, because it can come from experience and recognizing patterns that someone's been through. Potentially.
Yeah, I think there's trying to think of an example, but like I think there's a way that it can be helpful. But I think personally, like the more I try to see things with no judgment on it, it's like, again, it comes back to you're just being open to learn something new. I might learn something new about you or the other person or whatever. I might learn something new about myself. I don't know. But like if I'm coming at it with like limitation, which in this case would be judgment, and I'm closing myself off to like what I could potentially learn. And I think like when I said like, when you judge someone, you're only ever judging yourself. It's like an example I would give is like, if I see someone walking down the street or someone I know and I'm like, oh my God, like they look better unhealthy, or they're overweight, or like they don't exercise, or they're smoking or stuff like that. That's stuff that I judge myself for a lot. So like maybe subconsciously, maybe it's not like front of mind right here every day I'm thinking about it, but I know I'm really like keen and stay on top of like my health and physical health, not just mental health and spiritual health, like physical health. And it's like there's clearly a judgment that I'm putting on myself, that if I was to get overweight, I would judge myself for it. So therefore I'm judging that person because I would judge myself about it. And it's like, that's just like one example, but that happens like I've seen in my life in so many different areas. Like you judge someone for being lazy. It's like, because if I was being lazy, I would judge myself for it. So there's like straight away, there's a learning in the judgment.
But sometimes it's the judgment that makes you, or well, not you. Sometimes the judgment that helps me like not do something. Because I'm judging someone, for instance, I'd be like, cool, I'm not going to do that because I'm judging. There is that element too. I think a lot of things are like, I don't know, like I just got to the point in life where like there is no right or wrong, there is no whatever,
good
like
or bad.
Yeah, good or bad. It's just
perspective.
I think I got to the point where like it just is. Like things are just are like, when people go like, how are you? I am.
But is it dangerous though? Because how long before, and I say you because I'm talking about you specifically, how long before you have this mindset where you just end up being a fucking potato of just like feelinglessness?
I really don't give a fuck most of the time.
Yeah. So my question is like, how right now you just don't give a shit? You think there's no obviously not, there's no purpose or meaning to life, but more so like there's no emotion and there's no this, it's just all this perspective and whatnot. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm not saying that at all.
What are you saying? Sorry.
I'm just saying like most of the time things just are like, I think there's this whole thing of labeling good, bad, wrong, right. There's all these different things. Like you said it yourself. You gave an example, which was around Hitler. Like you said, to some people maybe he was doing good.
Yeah.
Because he looked like a superstar. He's creating this movement, whatever. To other people, most of the world, he looked bad. So like, those are all labels. He was just doing stuff. Like things got labeled afterwards.
I think that's the point I'm trying to make. I think you believe there's no good or bad. I believe there's only individual good and bad. I believe there's only, because what I feel like when I used to believe there's good and bad when I was younger, when I think, oh, this is a bad thing, killing is a bad thing, this is a good thing, I think that was learnt behavior. So the reason why I believed it was good or bad, because that was the common understanding of this is good, this is bad, this was learnt behavior. This is the most common thing in this world that we live in, or in my environment at least, was killing is good. Sorry, killing is bad. Whoa, bro, my inner dictator is coming out. Killing is bad, this is good, bad are good, this is the common understanding of my environment. But now I believe, and then I had that moment of belief at that time period where I believed similar to what you believe, where there's no good and bad, there's a perspective and stuff like that. And now, as time has done his due diligence and allowed me to progress, I now believe there is no good and bad. there is no common good and bad. There's only perspective or individual good or bad. Sorry, it's just how do you see it? I think good or bad exists because I believe yin and yang exists. I believe good and the balance. I just individual. What's your perspective on it? Do you believe this is or You feel me? Do you believe this is sensational or phenomenal?
What does that do for you? But like, by the way, we're gonna have to start checking out soon. But what does that do for you once you find out what a good and bad is?
Once I find out my perspective on a thing, whether it be good or bad.
So that's the only thing. What does that do for you when you find out?
It allows me to react or respond. Once I've decided with my perspective on it, I have the resources necessary to respond. And I think without that, I cannot respond. It's like trying to build a house with no bricks. Imagine trying to build a house with just cement.
So you cannot respond or you choose not to respond.
I think it makes it close to impossible to respond. Close, not impossible, close to impossible to respond without those necessary resources. Because you can still fucking build a house with just cement.
They can always
respond.
Response always you have all the time. It's like you're in charge of yourself 100%.
Sorry, no, let me reword what I'm saying. I think my response will be better once I've decided my perspective on a thing. That's what I think. Sorry, I just kind of had this epiphany. So, sorry, I think my response piss off. I think my response would always exist no matter what, and I have full control of it. But if I have full control of it, I also have full control of the things that allow me to make it better. And I think having the understanding or a perspective on a thing, that's what allows me to become better or respond better at least. That's my perspective. And if someone wants to take it, they can take it. They have to pay me because I've got royalties on it. Imagine having royalties on a perspective. That's amazing.
It's interesting.
Lit.
How much time do we have?
All the time in the world.
Yeah, jeez, I love it.
It's no rules.
Time just flew by. I think we're probably over an hour at this point. But is there anything you'd like to promote?
Not really, man. I think if anyone wants to check out anything, like if they've enjoyed part of this conversation and want to check out more, just head over to my Instagram, man. I'm Alex Manzi. Check out some of the content, some of the quotes, some of the videos. See if you fuck with it. If you do, drop me a message. Say hey. If you don't, drop me a message. Tell me why.
Amazing content as well, by the way.
Thank you.
Very thought-provoking. I'd even label it as life-changing. Yeah.
Has been for me. And that's why I share it. That's the important thing, man. I love that
you're a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, in a way.
You are.
Yeah, with the truth.
Your truth, yeah.
Yeah, no, the truth.
With a capital T.
The capital T.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, come on, we're learning. We've been around Hatching, so
learning with a capital L. How long?
Jeez, learning with a capital L. Love it.
With a capital L.
Alright, cool. Wait, don't want to promote a book or anything like that?
I do have a book, but like all of that stuff can be found through my Instagram. Just go there,
say no more.
Links, YouTube, podcast, book, all of that. So
amazing.
It's all there, man.
Alright, cool. So the one question we always check out with every single episode is, when you have a chance to say something to 7.8 billion people, basically the whole world population, what would you tell them?
Oh man, there's so much. How much time do I have?
You have time, don't worry.
But you have one thing though. You got time. You got 16 hours, but you have one thing to say.
The one thing that I would say is that we're all individually living within the illusion of our own thinking all the time.
Illusion. I really want to explore that.
I like that. That's what we kind of started with as well. I like that. That's deep. For people that get it, that's deep. For people that don't, they're still probably on a journey to get
And if
there.
you don't, hit us up, innit? All of us, DM us, I'll find out more about it. Like,
can I DM you?
DM them, don't DM me. I won't respond.
Yeah, I will. Like, I'm here for the conversation.
You respond to these fuckers on Instagram that try to fucking move to you, or not move to you, sorry. Like just chat shit, but you don't respond to people that have meaningful questions.
No.
You prick.
Now, what happened? What happened on Instagram?
Don't you respond to this fucking wank tard?
Oh, yeah, someone tries to scam me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Scam you.
Yeah. Like, you know that thing of like when you say like, oh, I'm going to send you my Instagram link, like just copy and paste it. You know that those kind
So you
of
respond to them
scammers.
fuckers, but if someone has a meaningful
Nah,
conversation.
I told them, suck your mum.
No, he said your mum first.
Huh?
He
said your mum first. Yeah, he said your mum. I said, nah.
I said, go scam someone more naive.
That's funny.
Bastard.
No, I said, go scam someone else. Like, this is how it went. Hold on.
There was man, you even sent a voice note, you know, dickhead. Why did you?
Yeah, I sent a voice note as well. But basically, the person goes, please, I want to send you my Instagram link. Copy and send it. I said, shut up. And then it goes, your mum.
I play your voice note, please.
I said, oh, some dumb guy said, go try scam someone else, suck your mum. And that's how the convo ended.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
You're a gamer. He's a gamer. He's a gamer.
But you know what? Yeah, but at the same time,
He's a gamer. You can
that's
tell
the thing. But people that don't know me, like this is what I realized as well. I need to clarify. I need to make this statement as well quickly before we check out. Yeah.
Oh, I already finished the video, bro.
Fuck you. Yeah, I need to make this statement. Yeah. So not that I care about it anyways, because I usually don't say this statement. But for people that don't know me, from what they get on the surface, that they might think I'm something else, but internally, like I come with love, and there's like nothing but peace and love, and that's how I function in general. But on the surface, they might think like, huh?
Are you a show or teller?
That's the thing. I'm none of them. I'm a knower.
We just told.
Huh?
We just told.
I know. I'm just saying.
And it was showing as well.
I haven't said it for many years, so I'm just saying it right now. Are you judging?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm a judge.
There's nothing wrong with that. You can judge. You're allowed to.
Of course.
Yeah, you're allowed to, bro. You have permission. That is cool.
Your permission.
No, you have permission.
But I have your permission
from life
to judge you.
You have my permission
to judge you.
I can't control you. You can do whatever you want.
There you go. We are what we control, and we control our thoughts.
But yeah, Alex, was good to have you. We're gonna do part 2 very soon.
Yeah, man.
Me, you, Sachin, and Aladdin.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be wild.
Yeah.
That would be wild, actually.
We need a talking stick or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what we're gonna do? Like a talking ball.
I was gonna say a mad thing, I'm sorry. I was gonna say a mad thing, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you always say a mad thing anyways. But yeah, cool, man. Nothing but gratitude.
Thanks for having me, man. Been a sick conversation.